Okay, so we have this wonderful sentence. Are we ready for it?
Yes.
Okay. To who do Oswald and myself report when we get to school? Ask the girl whose clothes seem like they came from another century.
I just moved to and I put who do Oswald and myself report to when we get to school.
Actually, the two stays where it is because you can't split that.
Would we change who to whom?
You wouldn't split that because you're splitting a preposition.
What?
Yeah.
I just did that.
Huh?
So
Would you change it to what?
Who to whom?
Who to whom? Very good. Okay. What else?
Century is spelled wrong.
Century is misspelled.
I put quotation marks around two in school. Pieces like what they're saying.
Do you need a question mark after school?
Yes, you need a question mark after school and a close quotation mark. Very good.
Get rid of the question mark at the end of century.
Okay, and put in a
Period.
period.
There's no comma on whose.
No comma on whose. What do I need to change that to?
And then
Like
just WHOS.
WHOSE. Very good.
And then clothes is spelled wrong.
No,
Clothes is misspelled. CLOTHES. Yes.
When you put SEM,
Myself needs to be changed to I.
who is?
Very good.
A comma after school before asked.
No, because you have the question mark, but you're not going to capitalize asked. That question mark, because it's a question being put into quotation marks, is going to act like the comma. Does that make sense? Now, if it were the end of the sentence and you were to begin a new paragraph, you would need to go ahead and capitalize that next paragraph. But because this has the tagline in it that asked the girl, you don't need to capitalize asked because it all is one sentence still. Okay. Does it fill to whom do Oswald and I report when we get to school? Ask the girl whose clothes seem like they came from another century. Period. It looks good. I have some notes for you, okay? This is stuff that I've got to go through. So when you have a question within the quotation marks, when you have a sentence within the quotation marks and we're looking at subject verb, start with the quotation marks. Start with that information within it, okay? So we're going to figure out the subject and the verb within the quotation marks. And when you have a question, you need to invert the sentence. You need to change the sentence into a statement. So change that sentence into a statement. Can you do that?
What do you mean?
Make that question a statement.
Oswald and I must report to someone in the basement.
Oswald and I, but try to use the words that you already have. Oswald and I do report when we get to school. It will still have the elements of the question because of the to whom. However, you can say Oswald and I do report to whom when we get to school.
How is that not a question?
I know, it's weird because of the to whom aspect of it. Okay? So that just tells me that we don't necessarily have to have to whom in there, right? If we were to make it a statement. Okay? So let's do this. Let's find the subject and the verb. Can we do that? Tell me my subject, tell me my verb.
Oswald and I, or Oswald and
Oswald and I. What is and?
I.
Conjunction. Very good. Where are my verbs?
Report.
Report and
Get.
Do.
do. Okay. Now, because to whom makes it still feel like it's a sentence, we do report. Do we have somebody who we report to? Oswald and I do report who or what. Is there anything in there that answers that question?
No.
No. So to whom is not going to be, if we were to make it a statement, we'd say Oswald and I do report to whom when we get to school. To whom is not going to answer who or what, is it? Okay. But we do have a pronoun. The pronoun whom is going to act like a noun, yes? So it can be the object, correct? What is to? A preposition. Here you have your preposition. Whom is going to be your object of the preposition, yes? Correct? You following? Okay. Now, do we have another verb? Good. Do you have another subject? What is it? We. Okay. Do we have another prepositional phrase? Where is it?
To school.
Preposition. School is your, tell me, object of the preposition. Very good. What about when? Subordinating conjunction. Very good, you guys. We have two subjects, two verbs, so we know we have a conjunction. It just depends on what type of conjunction, right? Now we have the subordinate conjunction. Can I move the subordinate clause in front? And the sentence still makes sense within the quotation marks. When we get to school, comma, to whom do Oswald and I report? It works, doesn't it? Okay. So we have one subordinate clause, right? Where does it end? At school. Very good. Are you getting it? Yeah? All right, let's take a look at the second part. You know, it seems like for you guys, and for my first hour it worked this way too. Let's find all the verbs. Sound good? We can figure out verbs pretty easily, right? Let's go ahead and figure out all the verbs. Tell me where my verbs are after the close quote. Asked.
Seemed.
Seemed.
Came.
Came. Okay, let's knock out all the subjects related to those verbs.
Girl, ask, girl. Or is it the? It is girl. Is it not?
Subject that links with asked, close would link with seemed. They would go with came.
So the girl asked. Asked the girl. The girl asked. I actually declared this as the subject first hour, and I think I was wrong. I think you guys are right. So the girl's going to be your subject, is it not? Okay, what kind of girl? Which one? The article adjective, right? I think I declared the quoted material as the subject, but in reality, I think it's the girl asked because we can invert the sentence, and that makes sense to me. Actually, I'm a lot more comfortable with that. The girl asked, okay? All right, now, seemed has a subject. Where is it? Close. And came has a subject. Where is it? They. Okay. Let's knock out all of the prepositional phrases. Where are they?
From another century.
From another century. Preposition. And century. Object. What kind of century? Which one? Adjective, right? Okay. Like. Eleazar, you said like is going to be a preposition, but tell me where the object is if like is a preposition.
They?
But isn't they connected already to came? So it's not going to be a preposition. Do you see how to figure that out? But it can be used in another way. It can be used as a conjunction. Is it a conjunction connected to subjects, to verbs? Yes, it is. So now we're going to be looking at yet another conjunction and possibly a subordinate conjunction, right? Because can like they came from another century stand all by itself? If I were to say like they came from another century, it doesn't stand alone, right? Okay. So it's going to be a subordinate clause. Now, the only other word that we have in here is whose. Whose clothes seem like they came from another century. Whose. What is whose talking about? What is it related to?
Clothes.
The girl.
Oh.
Remember that pronoun antecedent agreement that we talked about yesterday? Yes? Okay. Can whose be maneuvered around anywhere else? We do have a subordinate clause here, do we not? Because we have another subject and another verb that it needs to be its own sentence, right? And it has the W word that could start a subordinate clause. There's a really good trick for you whenever you're looking at subordinate clauses, okay? So whose is actually going to be what we call a relative pronoun. Let's take some notes on relative pronoun really quick. I don't need to give you the pronoun antecedent agreement. We've already got that done. But I do need to do a relative pronoun. Okay? Go ahead and flip this. Sorry. Relative pronoun. These are used to begin a subordinate clause. And they must have an antecedent. What is the antecedent again? C-E-D-E-N-T. Definition of an antecedent is it's the noun.
It refers to the pronoun.
Yes, the pronoun refers to the noun, right? It's the noun that the pronoun refers to, okay? We have 10 of these, and there's only 10, okay? And let me go ahead and find the list. I think it's on page 88. I think I had it down. No, it's not. 107, maybe. Okay. So we have who, whom, whoever, whomever, then we have whichever, we have which, whose, let's see, whatever, that, and what. So we have a bunch of WHs, do we not? The only one we don't have is when, and when is going to be a subordinate clause conjunction, okay? So you have these 10 relative pronouns, and they will all relate to the antecedent within the sentence. Cannot be moved. Subordinate clauses, if they can be moved, you're going to look at a subordinate conjunction. If you're looking at a subordinate clause that cannot be, you have a pronoun antecedent agreement, okay? So whose is now connected to the girl, correct? That's what you guys told me, yes? Right?
Yeah.
Okay? So whose is connected to the girl. Okay? But whose is now beginning a subordinate clause because you have a subject and a verb that follows, correct? So this is going to be a relative pronoun. So now tell me where my subordinate clause begins and tell me when to stop. Actually, I told you where it begins. Sorry, that was my bad. I always jump the gun and I don't mean to. Stop?
Yep.
Okay. Do I have a second subordinate clause within the subordinate clause?
Ask the girl.
Is the second one like
Yeah, it begins with like they came from another century, right? So you have a subordinate clause within a subordinate clause, do you not? And don't we have a third subordinate clause, which we've already talked about with this one up here when we get to school? That's crazy, isn't it? How many subordinate clauses within this one sentence? 3 of them. Okay? Are you getting it? You understanding? Yeah, is it becoming clearer? What do you think about this? Do you have any questions? Okay. All right, so there's this. We're done with this. We're going to switch over to our writing. You ready? I'm going to have you guys help me determine my essay. Because I'm going to show you guys. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about the concrete detail, the topic sentences, the commentary. Yes? We went through it and we talked about, like, some of you are like, I just didn't understand the Monster stuff, and I didn't understand, like, I don't drink Monster energy drinks, and that's okay. I like the Monster energy drinks because they are so vastly popular with especially teenagers, especially those teenagers who work and hold jobs and have to come to school and have to stay awake and keep moving forward, okay? There's a reason Monster energy drinks is a multi-billion-dollar corporation, okay?
So awesome.
People drink them all the time. But that's not what we're necessarily writing about. That was just a given topic for you guys to connect to, right? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to talk about the lottery and the Hunger Games. You guys are going to do an expository style essay. Within that expository style essay, your pronouns are going to come into play. If you and I, hint pronouns, you and I are not involved in the expository essay, which person of pronoun do I need to use? First, second, or third?
if we are in it or if we aren't?
We are not. You and I are not in it.
Second is
Second
you.
or
Which person do I need to write in when I use pronouns?
Second.
third?
You and I are not in it.
Third.
Third.
I don't
Third.
get the person. Like, I've always never used
I thought third person was like Haley.
Yeah.
I can be the viewer, the reader.
You only use third person pronouns for expository style writing. Okay? Let's take a look at what those include. All right? We're talking about personal pronouns. All right? We're talking about, for singular, we're looking at he, she, him, her, they. Oh, no, not they. Sorry, that's plural. Him, her, it. There it is. Here's plural. They, them, its. That's it. If you want to talk about yourself, I guess you could use one, which is one I picked up on in college, where I started saying, instead of talking about I would say one would, and one would come to understand that. Okay? Or you can say the reader would come to understand that. Or the viewer would come to understand that if you're talking about film. Does that make sense? Okay? You're going to talk about yourself in third person. You're only going to be able to use the third person pronouns. What are some of the first person pronouns?
I, me, we. Oh, not me, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh.
I, me, and then for plural, we, us. Okay. What are second person?
You. I don't know anymore for some.
You all, if you're looking at Oklahoma lingo, y'all, right? Okay. These are not going to be used in expository writing. You will not use any of these. They're not allowed in your essay. Do you know how hard it is to not put in you?
It is hard. I never.
We speak that way, and so we naturally write that way. I went through a senior essay recently. He brought it to me. We sat down. We went through it. I underlined 35 U's in 3 paragraphs. 35 U in 3 paragraphs. I said, take them out, find a different pronoun to use. Do you see now why we're doing pronouns in bell work? Okay. We've got to get used to using those pronouns. Those pronouns, we use them every single day in almost every single sentence. And we use them multiple times. Okay. It's natural for us to use pronouns. They're actually one of the most used part of speech that we have. Okay, and because they're tiny, they're hard to find. Sometimes just one letter, especially when you're looking at I, okay? I and it, right? Okay. All right, so now you know expository writing, you can only use third person pronouns. You are going to be removing yourself as the writer from personally appearing in your essay. Your reader is going to understand that you understand these things, but you are not going to put yourself in there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Bryant, you okay, bud?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's talk now. We understand this, okay? And if you need to write it down, take a minute to write it down. It would be good for you to have for when you're writing. And if you need a clean sheet of paper for expository writing, by all means. If not, I can reattach this to you guys and give this to you in Google Classroom as a video to go back in and look at, okay? Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the topic that I chose. I chose sacrifice. I have self, family, and community. I have definition. I have the lottery. I have Hunger Games. I have Christianity offers the first form of sacrifice. Then I have the biblical passage from the death of Christ, which is John 3:16, which is world known. So I'm not preaching anything new to my students. This is something that you guys can see on any commercial, so it kind of protects me from the state, division of state versus what church and state, right? Okay, so I can mention this, coming at it from a literary analysis. Does that make sense? Okay. Then I have my thesis statement, and here's my thesis statement. And so we're going to work just from here up for just a few minutes, okay? So when we're talking about the lottery and the Hunger Games, and I'm talking about sacrifice, would I bring self, family, and community? Which one would I bring and focus on the most? Would I focus on self if I'm talking about lottery and the Hunger Games? I would be looking at community. I'm going to take out self and family in there. And I'm going to hyper focus, or as I said this morning, uber focus on community. Okay? All right. That's where I'm going to be looking at and sacrifice within the community. Can I define it in my essay? Would it be nice for my reader to know what a definition of it is? Absolutely. Then I'm going to be looking at the lottery as an area of focus, and the Hunger Games, and Christianity. I'm going to use all 3 of those areas, right? Or 4, right? So, tell me, let's talk about my thesis statement. I want to know, can you find the main idea of my thesis statement? Where is it?
How sacrifice has been throughout.
Main idea is throughout, yes. Am I missing something? Where's my Uber focus going to be?
It just says
On community. For a community. I'm missing community, am I not? Okay. Definition, I don't really need to put that in my thesis statement, do I? But definition is going to appear where in my essay?
Really early.
Super early. Can I do it in my first paragraph, my opening paragraph?
yes.
Yes, I could do it. And I can actually open my whole essay with it, could I not? That's a good point to make. You can open an essay with quote, definition, description, question, okay? This could very possibly open an essay. Okay? And I think I may do that. I may go ahead and open my essay with definition, okay? Now I have main idea. I need to include for the community, going back here into my thesis statement. I need to include that there. Now, do I have the lottery games represented within the thesis statement? The lottery games. Did I just say that? Do I have the lottery? Do I have the lottery represented within the statement?
Modern literature.
Modern literature. I did that this morning too. The lottery. Do I have the Hunger Games represented within my thesis statement?
Film.
Do I have the biblical aspect of it?
Yeah, biblical
Biblical
times.
times.
Okay. If I chose to use one of those life principles up here, could I connect that to everyday life with personal experience without using first person?
No.
I can, because I can use one. Can I not? And I can make it very generic, could I not? Even though it would come from me personally, where I would talk about a strong citizenship is often represented within school as related to clubs and organizations like Key Club, National Honor Society, and Stuco, right? And I could talk about those things, talking about having strong citizenship and commitments, right? I could even weave that word into it too, correct? Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? So could I connect myself, and my personal experience, instead of having to use Christianity into one of those life principle words? Yeah, you can. You just have to remove yourself by using this one pronoun one. Does that make sense? Okay. You guys all need to stand up and stretch. Everybody's dozing.
I'm staying awake though.
We are staying awake. We're fighting it, and I'm proud of you for fighting it. But I want to make sure that you're okay and you're getting it. Okay? All right. So I do have these three areas: Christianity, the lottery, the Hunger Games, all supported by sacrifice for community. Decent thesis gives me an option to work with. I may need to restructure and reword it based upon how my essay turns out and is organized. However, it gives me a solid start. Easier, let me ask you this, would it be easier to restructure the thesis or the essay?
Thesis.
Much easier to do the thesis, right? So is my thesis stat and stable?
Mm-hmm.
It's good for right now, but is it set in stone? No. This will be actually the last sentence I revisit before I turn my essay in. Is going to be my thesis statement. I will make sure that my thesis statement matches the flow of my entire essay. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So do you understand this? Did it help to break some of it down? Let's talk about the lottery. Now, before I do that, is this my TS, CD, or CM? TS, all the way. This is the opening, the topic sentence. The topic opening, the inclusion. Now I'm going to have multiple TS's throughout my essay, am I not? Okay. Can I pull concrete detail and commentary into my opening? Absolutely. Okay. But I'm going to focus, this is my opening, my entry. Okay? Are we good? Good. Okay, so now let's do this. Let's go down into the lottery, because isn't that the first thing that I'm really going to focus on is the lottery? I know I didn't really organize this in any way other than I need to go in and look at the literature aspect of it. So let's go ahead and break these down into CMs and CDs. Does that sound good? Okay, lottery in June, corned beef heavy soon. CM, CD. CD. It can be proven, right? Okay. The idea that the community will sacrifice one soul for the greater good in order to appease the earth for its bounty. CM or CD? Can I prove, is it solid fact? Or is it more of an opinion?
Well, I guess our position is
Yeah, it could be a CD and I can prove it, but it's going to be a CM because it's going to be what I say about it. Make sense? Okay. Traditional is one of the topics that we talked about as to why. And so I'm going to lead this into traditional. The sacrifice must be done with stones, a representation of the earth by those who will benefit the sacrifice. CM or CD?
CD.
This offers the villagers a sense of payment, a price that they had to pay for a greater good to survive and survive well. CM. Unfortunately, it seems they have all become desensitized to the process and may already begin to lose their view of why they make the sacrifice to begin with. CM. The black box is now resting on a stool that had been put to use even before Old Man Warner, the oldest man in town, was born. Concrete detail, definitely. The town believes that the only thing they can do to ensure the crop in good standing is to give one of their own, and the only way to conduct it properly is through the black box. CM. Okay. I've got to scroll down. So here we had CD, CM. A box that no one wants to change for fear of changing anything else. CM. Every year, the subject of a new box was allowed to fade off without anything being done. CD. The one to be killed does not know that they are going to be until the lottery. They all have the same chance to be chosen. The only one will die at one time, and it was an honor. This is a CM because it's not necessarily thought of now to be an honor. No. The only one to say that was who?
Old Man Warner.
Old Man Warner. Okay. Do I give myself the pattern that I'm asking you guys to seek?
Basically.
Yeah, I basically. And do you already have a start? Do you guys already have quotes? Did I have you go through and do that? I haven't, have I?
No.
I didn't think I had. So what we're going to be doing is you're going to go through the lottery and you're going to find your quotes. You're going to figure out what you're talking about and you're going to find quotes. But before we even do that, we need to choose from our papers 3 themes that we could talk about, the 3 that we're most drawn to, right? That's where I need to go now. All right, so let's go ahead and take out the handouts that I have given you for the Hunger Games and the lottery. You know which ones I'm talking about? I'm waiting to see if everybody has it. I may have it. I hope I don't, but I think, because I don't think I had you guys turned it in yet.
We turned in all the lottery ones.
Yeah,
Did you?
I did not finish that Hunger Games film analysis.
It's the Hunger Games film analysis that you guys need. Yeah. There it is. That's it right there. Yep. It's the Hunger Games film analysis. That's what you need. Let's go ahead and go back to the back page. Go ahead and turn to the back page. And we started working on it. Some of you guys should have already had like a lot of stuff done on the very second and to the last and the last page. You're going to go through now. Let me get you some sticky notes. So what you'll need are some sticky notes. You're going to need 9 sticky notes each. Okay? All I've done is basically jumped ahead. I actually had the other classes do this first.
I got some stuff here.
But I think you guys are okay. You've got some stuff? Okay, here are 2 packages of sticky notes. 1, 2.
Oh, she learned it.
Did I do okay? All right, here's 2 packages of sticky notes. You're going to need 9 of them. Okay? What you're going to do, your job now, is to go through and I want you to find, are you listening? I want you to find 3 themes, and out of those 3 themes, you need to find 2 quotes per piece of literature or film that we have looked at. So you're going to find 2 quotes for the lottery for a theme, and 2 quotes for the Hunger Games for a theme. Okay? So you're going to go in and say you do look at sacrifice, find 2 quotes about sacrifice from the lottery and 2 quotes about sacrifice from the Hunger Games. And then you're going to, if you look at finding maybe, what's another theme on the back? Tradition. Find 2 quotes about tradition from the lottery and 2 quotes about tradition from the Hunger Games. Okay, and give me a third one. Desensitization. 2 quotes about desensitization and 2 quotes about from the lottery and 2 quotes about desensitization from the Hunger Games. You're going to only choose 3. And in the end, out of those 3 themes, you're only going to write about 1 of them. Okay?
So we find 3 quotes for each theme we pick?
You're going to find for each theme that you pick, you're going to find 2 quotes from the lottery per theme, 2 quotes from the Hunger Game per theme. Does it make sense? Okay, so you actually may need more than 9. I think you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 3 is 15. You're going to have 15 sticky notes is what you're going to end up with.
Whoa.
Connor, what did you ask?
So 5 themes?
No, 3 themes.
3 themes. Oh, okay. Yeah.
3 themes.
2 quotes.
2 quotes per piece of literature we just watched and read. Okay? Questions?
Rachel, what do we write on the sticky note?
Okay. Great question. Because I'm jumping ahead of myself. What you're going to write on the sticky notes is you're going to write the theme on 1 sticky note. So you're going to write sacrifice. Look, ladies. You're going to write sacrifice. You're going to put it at the top. You can spread out whatever. You can put them on the board. I don't care. And then underneath it, you're going to write from the lottery, the 1 quote. Lottery. On the next sticky note, you're going to write the 2nd quote for that theme. And you're going to put it down underneath it. Okay? Then you're going to switch over to the Hunger Games. How can you do the Hunger Games? What can you use to go find quotes from the Hunger Games?
The book, I guess.
You can look online. Yeah, and you can actually say quotes about sacrifice from the Hunger Games. And it will give it to you. But you must cite where you got it from. So you must tell me which website you got it from.
Do you want us to make sure they're from the movie and not the book?
No, I'm okay with it being from the book.
Okay.
Okay? Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Clear enough? Or still vague? Clear enough? Okay. So that's what we're going to work on tomorrow. I want you to find your quotes. We'll do our bell work. I'll try to shorten it a little bit, but I feel like it's really important that we go over these things, okay? We'll do our bell work, and then you guys are gonna go after your quotes, okay? Once you find your material, do you have your CDs already about your theme? So you've already got some of that accomplished, yes? Then you're gonna be able to start working on your commentary. Can you put them on sticky notes?
You should have got regular sticky.
Yes, I know, everyone's been playing with them, right? Okay, are we good shape? Good lesson?
Do I need to watch the Hunger Games at home to finish
Looks like
the
crap,
analysis?
no.
No, you've already seen it, haven't you?